So it's Super Bowl week. I'm very hyped about it, and I love it. But next year, I don't even want to think about next year, but I got to give a shout out to 98.5 FM's own Kendra Middleton for putting this tweet out in late January. The Super Bowl next year is held on Valentine's Day, so you better start planning and having that conversation now. If you're a couple and you have the Super Bowl on Valentine's Day, God bless you.
Seriously.
If the Seahawks go back to the Super Bowl, I better find a girlfriend.
And by the way, out of the four of us, gets his 2 thumbs and actually has a girlfriend that has to deal with this. This guy.
Oh, man.
You're handicapped, but you've got both your thumbs.
Anyway, we have a lot to get to. We got the Super Bowl. We got the NBA trade deadline. We got a lot of stuff going on. Let's play that intro. Let's do it.
I'm in control of you.
I don't care.
Thank you.
This part can kill you.
Am I missing something here? Oh, wait, there it is.
Guarantee!
Ladies and gentlemen, Sean is jamming out. I love that. For those of you who know, that's Shinedown's Enemies as our intro for Four Sports. And it's funny because before we came on, Alex sent me a little bit of a tweet that Shinedown pulled out of the Rock the Country Music Festival. I don't know why. I don't want to get into the reasons why, but we're here. Anyways, Four Sports, one stands alone, episode number 33. Matt Sirianni, Kevin Zelicskovics, Alec Nava, John Welch. Super Bowl's around the corner. Gentlemen, how are you?
Feeling A-OK. John, Maddie, Alec. John getting geared up for the Super Bowl, as always, his Seahawks representing. And I'm still sad about that the Devils are a garbage team, but I'm happy to be with you guys for the show.
I can only imagine what Kevin has in store because Kevin has Fresh Found or Fried this week. And I can only imagine between Hall of Fame snubs and the Devils, there's like a lot that has to come on him with him. But before we actually get into Fresh Found or Fried, which is a long way to go, we do have to start off with the NBA trade deadline, which is how we're going to begin today's episode. And there were some people that were not moved. There were some people that went to places that we didn't expect. There are some people that are still rain chasing, a la James Harden. And it's just weird to me that we're at this point where James Harden's a ring chaser. So one of the first trades we're going to get into, we'll speed through some of the other ones that really are like kind of minor ones, but this is a joke at this point. I don't know why the NBA tab keeps going up, but James Harden was traded by the LA Clippers to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Darius Garland goes to LA in exchange. Now, I don't know why the board. We're not going to mess with the borders, but anyway.
Or even the board wants no part of this.
The borders want no part of this segment. The borders want no part of this segment. But James Harden is a Cavalier now, and apparently the rumors are that Donovan Mitchell wanted LeBron to come back to Cleveland and not James Harden. And as you've noticed over the last several years, we've noticed a pattern with James Harden. Force a situation to get traded out of a team, get traded, be good for a month, fizzle in the playoffs. Force a situation out of a team, go to another team, get traded, be good for a month, fizzle in the playoffs. This has been going on for like the last several years. He did it with the Rockets. He did it with the Nets. He did it with the Sixers. He did it with the Clippers, and now he's doing it. He's going to do it in Cleveland. I'm calling it right now. Because Kevin, Alec, and I were talking about this with Randy Couray on Voice of the Fans this week, and I also got a shout out to Randy Couray. This is becoming a joke because I've seen people who ring chase, but not to this extent. Not to this extent. This is almost like an embarrassment for James Harden. And you're talking about a guy who's a top 100 player all time, and he's insanely talented. But why resort to this every year? I mean, Alec, what's going on?
Well, this is the Clippers accepting that they are a play-in team at best, and that they want to reload and get younger. Because if they keep on with this old, in all caps, underline, bold, italicized, big fonts, however you want to type it out in a document, this old roster, they need to get younger. That was the priority for them. James Harden has been the team's best player this season, you could argue, before Kawhi got back. And the Clippers, they want to get some value back, and they got it with Darius Garland. At first glance, the trade doesn't make sense, but the more you look at it, there's some logic behind this. Garland's been getting hurt time and time again. He's only played more than 70 games in his career in the season just once, and toe injuries have been his downfall. Maybe they could have waited this out. Maybe he could have stayed healthy heading into the playoffs. Maybe he could have taken a pay cut, but it all comes down to one factor: financials. The Cavaliers were not willing to pay Garland and his bad contract coming into next season. That's when Jared Allen's extension kicks in. Next comes Donovan Mitchell, who is going to be eligible for a supermax in Cleveland. So they went with the option that would make them better in the short term. For all the talk about trade request drama, James Harden is a more durable option than Darius Garland, and he's been better than Garland has been this season. And he's going to take this burden off of Donovan Mitchell, because if anyone has watched the Cavaliers play this season, they could not score Warfa, you know what, when Spider was up on the bench. I mean, they were awful offensively when he was sitting down. So he had to be utilized a lot, and I mean a lot. And also, what's going to help out here? Big men, especially when playing with James Harden. Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, they're about to get some of the easiest shots of their life. The pick and roll game is going to thrive here.
Yes.
And also, one thing, Harden is several inches taller than Garland. He may not be a star defender, but he's easier to hide in the context of the overall scheme, and he's making less money now than Garland is. So it's kind of a all's fair in love and war type of trade. We'll see how this pays out. It's a wait and see.
It really is, but I can only imagine, like, it's going to be good for the first month. It's just a matter of can James Harden do good in the playoffs. And to put this into context, I think the Cavaliers are like 5th in the East right now, in the Eastern Conference standings. They're not exactly at the top like the Pistons are, although Piston fans are pissed off about this because now they got to see James Harden more. And I don't think they want to see him in the division, although divisions don't really matter in the NBA. But again, the Cavaliers have potential to do good, and it's with any team who has James Harden. But watch what happens in the divisional round, because that's usually where things start to spiral out of control. And Kev, I can only tell you right now, James Harden, for as good as he is, I'm not really too sure how it's going to go with James Harden. Do you think things are going to go fair? Do you think they'll go a little bit more smoother in Cleveland than they did in LA? What do you think?
Well, when I first saw this trade break out, I immediately said that I think this is a bad trade for Cleveland for all of the reasons that with the drama surrounding James Harden, because I feel like it's like you said, it's exactly like clockwork. He goes to a team, is good for a little bit, and then gets fizzles out in the playoffs with his own doing and his own demise. And then after maybe like a year or two, he requests a trade, goes to a new team, rinse and repeat. That's why I said I think it's a bad trade. But Alec brings up a good point. Darius Garland is injury prone, although he's younger than Harden, and Harden can score in bunches when he is on his game. But I think this is going to be like the same exact scenario. Harden is going to fit in fine with Cleveland. I think they'll win the first round of the playoffs, and then in the second round of the playoffs, James Harden is going to go 4 for 19 and get 12 points, and then the Cavaliers will get trounced the second round. He'll do that for one more year, and then by 2028, he'll be on a new team again and request a trade. So I feel like that's exactly what's going to happen. Again, I said this on Voice of the Fans when me, you, and Alec were on it. I think that Harden is blaming others before blaming himself, and that's the big issue I see here. And one of the reasons why I don't think he's going to win a championship if he has that kind of mentality, this defeatist mentality where you don't try to make it work with the team that you're on, instead of quitting when things get tough.
It's kind of a shame. It's not professional to do that. If you do that at a job, they'll fire you and you won't even get hired anywhere else. Like from a professional standpoint, this is not acceptable. And it's almost as professional as the Borders. I don't know what the hell is going on with the Borders these days. But, John, I'm going to come to you next. So, this whole chasing the rings thing with James Harden, I mean, it hasn't really worked out. But do you think that impacts his legacy that he keeps jumping from team to team every year?
I don't know that it changes his legacy. I just think it gives him a better opportunity to go to places where he's a piece. And the problem is the teams that he's gone to don't have the pieces that win championships. So, how many more teams can he jump to ring chase before he's out of the league? And I don't think he's very far away.
Yeah, time's ticking on him. It really is. Like, what is he? 36?
Cavaliers aren't getting there.
No, they're not. They're not the best team.
I
in the
don't
East.
see them going past the second round.
Like, if they're the 5th seed and they get matched up with the 4 seed, which I think right now, correct me if I'm wrong, 4.
Actually, right now, Cleveland is the 4 seed, and Raptors are the 5th seed.
Raptors are 4 and 5, and then Sixers are 6. Okay, yeah, that's gonna be. I think they can get past Philly at this point if things hold. It's when they have to play the Pistons. That's probably where they're gonna face some trouble.
Yeah, because Detroit's very tough.
Oh yeah, and it's a division opponent.
kidding.
Yep. Okay, now we got some other trades that we got to get into. We got Anthony Davis trade to the Washington Wizards. Oh boy. So Nico Harrison, what did that trade do for the Dallas Mavericks that you got rid of Luka Doncic? Nothing.
All I can do is just laugh when I saw that because it's not even like against the Wizards. Actually, I think it's a great trade for the Wizards. They got Trae Young and Anthony Davis, but I could only think of how Nico Harrison, that with that Luka Doncic trade, you traded so much to get Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and all that for nothing, absolutely nothing, and now he's a Wizard, and this is why I'm still full-heartedly believe that the NBA draft lottery, I think, was rigged. I think the Luka trade was compensation for it, or consolation prize after that. I still firmly believe that, and I think that the Mavericks, like, if you're a Mavs fan, God bless you, because like Luka's playing in LA for essentially nothing right now.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a joke, and honestly, if you're Nico Harrison, you're probably seeing this, and you're like, wow. Look at what I just done. Nothing. You did absolutely nothing but ruin the franchise. And like, in all fairness to the Mavericks, Cooper Flagg at 19 years old is playing really well, but he's carrying the team on his back, and the Mavericks team around him isn't that good.
And they don't have Kyrie Irving either.
And they don't have Kyrie Irving. And honestly, I think that Klay Thompson might be on his way out the door pretty soon.
The Mavs get number 1 again?
Well, we don't know that for sure. But what we do know is that the Mavs, they may be accepting their fate with this trade, that they want to just ship off whatever they can and get as much picks in return for as they trade away Anthony Davis, which is the first piece. Several more will be on their way out. Ideally, full-scale rebuild and build around Cooper Flagg may be the way to do it.
That might be the way to do it. But it's just unfortunate. Like, they had this big vision of, oh, we're going to make a blockbuster trade. Meanwhile, it just came out to bite them in the butt. That's really all this did. Oh, man. Anyway, we got other trades. Actually, there's one that wasn't.
Also, when you consider. Oh, one more thing. When you consider the fact, also keep in mind this Mavericks team it's only what 2 or 3 years removed from being in NBA Finals because they had Luka Doncic and Jalen Brunson, and they lost both of them for essentially nothing. The Knicks got him by paying him over $100 million when the Mavericks could have easily brought him back, and they traded Luka away for essentially nothing now. It's poor management to the highest degree.
Is Mark Cuban still the majority owner?
No, he's the minority owner.
Nope.
The majority owner is, I despise her, Miriam Adelson.
Oh my God. I wonder how Mark Cuban is seeing this. Like, what did my beautiful team just become? It's literally becoming a joke.
That's what happens.
So then we got other acquisitions that were made. I want to get to an actual signing that happened. So Mac McClung, who's a multiple-time slam dunk champion, actually did sign a contract with the Chicago Bulls. Congrats to him, because outside the slam dunk contest, this guy wasn't seen on the court at all. So good for Mac McClung. Trace Jackson Davis was traded to the Toronto Raptors from the Golden State Warriors. Ayo Dosunmu was traded from the Chicago Bulls to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Kristaps Porzingis is going to Golden State, and in exchange, Buddy Hield and Jonathan Kuminga go to Atlanta. Jazz got Lonzo Ball, and then they traded him away, or they waived him away.
Oh, not even the biggest trade for the Jazz, because they made a big move, literally and figuratively. Enter Triple J, Jared Jackson Jr.
That's probably the biggest acquisition they got. The Utah Jazz got him, and we thought Ja Morant was going to follow suit. That ended up not being the case. So Ja Morant is staying in Memphis, which is a little bit of a surprise because I thought that he was on his way out. And God bless my soul, I'm probably eating crow for this because I said on Voice of the Fans. I thought Giannis Antetokounmpo was going to go off of the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks. This little inside joke, you'll know where that's going from. But I said that straight facts, Giannis Antetokounmpo will go somewhere else. I thought the Knicks were going to grab him. I thought the Miami Heat were going to make a play for him. That ended up not being true. So now Giannis is kind of held hostage in Milwaukee for at least the end of the season. Brewers are currently Bucks are currently 12th in the East right now. And
oh, come on. That's the second time that this happened. You did it the first time before the show.
One on the agenda, and then one here.
Oh my goodness.
So
you just like the Brewers so much.
Quick story. When I write the agendas for the show, it goes by. I write so quick, I don't even see what I'm writing half the time. And then I just see that little blunder. I'm like, oh, snap. I actually messed up. So that was the story that I put Brewers instead of Bucks. But anyway, Giannis doesn't move. Kind of a shocker because I figured that Milwaukee would want to unload, especially seconds after they said, we're not trading Giannis Antetokounmpo away. They trade away a couple of their other players to the Phoenix Suns. So it's kind of becoming like, what's Milwaukee doing? I don't understand the direction they're going in. Kev, can you shed some light on what do you think ownership is thinking right now?
So in my mind, Matt, the only thing I can really think of is that they want to try to bring pieces in to try to maybe build around Giannis and maybe try to convince him that, hey, we're going to build around this team for you for one more year. Just stay with us for one more year. And if you don't like it, then we can send you to where you want to go next year. And the reason I say to where he wants to go is because if you saw all the rumored trade packages, the one that the Warriors sent the Bucks was, I believe it was Kuminga, Podziemski, and 4 first-round picks.
Correct.
And the Bucks declined that. They're idiots for not accepting that kind of offer. Mm-hmm. I don't care. Like if Giannis is hurt right now, you take that offer if you're the Bucks, because that is how you rebuild. 4 first-round picks. That's you jump on that. But clearly the Warriors pivoted to Kristaps Porzingis, who they did trade for. I think that's a good trade for them. But with Giannis, like that tells me one of two things. Either one, the Bucks truly believe that they can actually keep Giannis at least for one more year and build around him and convince him to stay, or it tells me that they are going to figure out a way to get Giannis where he wants to go. And where I think Giannis wants to go is the Knicks. And he has stated that he wants to come to the Knicks. But the problem is, I think Giannis said that during this trade deadline. He's like, I want to be a Knick. I don't want to go anywhere else. But the front office is like, well, we can't get you there because the Knicks don't have enough draft capital that we want to get to trade you for.
Right.
I think that could be a reason why that they solely didn't get rid of Giannis, because the Heat, who are big suitors, they had draft picks aplenty to trade, right? The Warriors, they had draft picks to play with. The Warriors had a good amount of players and draft picks to play with, but they declined every single one of them. So that tells me that now with the Knicks having, like I said before the show, next year they have 2 tradable first-round picks plus the Wizards' protected first-round pick if they fall outside the top 8. And now they have 9 second-round picks, draft capital that they can work with, along with money that they saved in the Yabusele trade. They say $5.8 million. They got off his contract completely without having to give up a draft pick, and they're under the second apron so they can sign more players and then get their cap space in situation. So the Knicks are now equipped to get Giannis and go all in on him next season if they don't win a championship this year. And I think that's the best case scenario for the Knicks. But with Giannis, I have to believe that's got to be what happened, because there's no way, if I'm the Bucks front office, if I see an offer like the Warriors was two young good players, Kuminga, who's great for the Warriors, and 4 first-round picks. It's one thing if it was 4, if it was like 2 second-rounders, 2 third-rounders. 4 first-rounders? You not jumping on that, I think, is blasphemy. But I think it's because Giannis does have a player option for next year. Most likely he's going to decline it. But if it's because he wants to go to a certain team and the Bucks can't oblige to that offer, I got to think that Giannis wants to be a Knick at that point.
It seems like that. It seems like he wanted to be a Knick this entire time. I think there were the rumors were speculating it was heavy consideration that he wanted to go to New York. Miami, I think, had the resources, but I don't think they wanted to deal with Miami. Al, what were your thoughts on all this?
Well, whoever was getting Giannis has to pay a huge haul to get him. And given the current landscape of all this, the list of suitors were going to be limited, because the suitor would have to have at least 4 first-round picks and several NBA-ready players and some prospects that are ready to come up soon for the team that is getting them in return. Maybe you can involve more than 2 teams into this, because ideally this will require a mega deal. If you remember the Jimmy Butler trade from last year, that involved at least 6 teams. It's going to come close to, say, 4 teams to facilitate such a trade if such were going to be regarded. But The suitors were going to be limited. The Knicks was the likeliest case. But because of Deuce McBride going down, a hole opened up elsewhere. That is guard, especially bench guard. So that's where the Knicks traded for Jose Alvarado, who, while he's not a mirror image of Deuce McBride, he can provide some defensive value as a guard. And keep in mind, he's doing this while being undersized and of a short wingspan. His hustle, effort, and defense is what makes him appealing. And the Knicks didn't have to pay much to get Alvarado in the first place. Some other suitors that were in on Giannis were the Warriors, as Kevin mentioned, but they pivoted and got Kristaps Porzingis. But either way, between Giannis and KP, Jonathan Kuminga was going the other way 100%, because the Warriors are trying to get out of an unhealthy relationship with Kuminga that has stemmed back over the years. He wanted out, and so the relationship has been mended with his trade request being granted, and he now gets a chance at Atlanta. But at the end of the day, it comes down to resources. Who was going to have the most resources? The Warriors' future after Curry and Jimmy Butler looks bleak.
Yes.
After they used up a lot of their young players, Jordan Poole, Jonathan Kuminga, all those young players that they thought were going to be integral to this future, they're now gone now. And the Warriors don't have a lot of those pieces. The Knicks are trying to win now, which makes them the most logical fit. And the Lakers, well, they're going to have their books open up after LeBron leaves, because right now this is Luka's team. Everything else opens up for the Lakers after LeBron's departure. And by the looks of it, the Lakers and LeBron, it looks like that relationship between the two of them has been severed. And it looks unstable at best and severed at worst. That's how I describe the Lakers' relationship with LeBron, the two of them together.
That's pretty much accurate. Like, the day LeBron retires is going to be a lot of positive things to come for the Lakers, because I feel like LeBron, as great as he is probably holding the Lakers back a little bit. So I think the Lakers are going to benefit tremendously for when that day comes. But like you said, it's Luka's team. And I think the team revolves around Luka. And you mentioned the Warriors for a second. You mentioned that Jordan Poole is gone and Jonathan Kuminga. I mentioned Trace Jackson-Davis before. They were dependent on him to be one of their better bigs, and now he's gone.
And not to mention, now that Jimmy Butler's out for the year, the only reliable swingman that they have to start at the free position is Guy Santos, who's normally a bench player. Draymond Green is in his twilight, and Al Horford is also in his twilight.
Yes. All right. Now, some other trades we got to wrap this up. Chris Paul is ending his retirement tour with Toronto. He got the go to Toronto, so he's a Raptor now. Jared McCain was traded by the Philadelphia Sixers to go to the Thunder. Kobe White is going to the Hornets. Nikola Vucevic is going to the Boston Celtics. That's big for their size inside because they need big help. Jaden Ivey and Mike Conley Jr. are traded to the Chicago Bulls from Detroit. And then, oh my God, do I really got to say this as a Brooklyn Nets fan? That the Brooklyn Nets have waived Cam Thomas. What are we doing?
Oh, regarding Chris Paul, the Raptors are not requiring him to report to the team. They can still discuss trades involving him. Well, never mind, because the trade deadline has already been passed. So
it passed.
Yeah, it passed. So the Raptors will not require him to report to the team. So it's his contract that got traded, not him, the player.
That's fine. It's just a shame because I remember Chris Paul, he was trying to finish off his tenure with the Spurs in his NBA career, and then the Spurs just let him go, which is shameful. But, oh, man, it's just one of those. This was a crazy deadline. I'm shocked that John Morant didn't move. I felt like a lot of teams want him. But, again, teams like Miami would have loved to have a guy like John Morant. I think Miami probably wanted more people than what they actually got. But, John, who do you think won the deadline based on everything that happened over the last several days?
That's a good question. It was interesting to see the Clippers make moves. I liked what Chicago did. As far as winners go,
yeah,
I'm probably gonna have to stick with OKC. I mean, they didn't need much, but what they did added to them making another strong run.
All right, fair enough. Just stay strong. Kevin, who's your winner?
I really like what the Wizards did, to be completely honest with you. I think getting Anthony Davis was very big for them. Adding him with newly acquired Trae Young, I think will provide a good foundation to build around going forward. But this was the first couple of stepping stones for the Wizards, who are probably going to be picking in the top 5 in this year's draft, depending on if they start to win now. But I think the Wizards, had a great trade deadline. I don't think really anybody expected.
You know what? I think Washington really overachieved because even though they're not going to be good this year, they're probably going to finish like bottom 5 in the NBA, and they hopefully get a top 5 pick. If they get a top 5 pick, given what they got now, this team could actually compete next year, and they need to step up. Because listen, as much as Anthony Davis is injury prone, you got to remember he's still one of the best bigs in the NBA. Alec, who's your winner?
I know the 2 picks is – I know the pick about OKC is about a current champion. Washington's building something in which with their young pieces, blending in with some veteran talent. But I wanted to go somewhere different with this. Okay. Utah. I think Utah's a winner in this. It was 4 years ago when the Jazz traded away Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. And at this point, Utah's realizing, hey, we need to break out of this rebuild. We're tired of losing all the time. We have something with Keontae George and Lauri Markkanen. We want to keep Markkanen as a building piece and not as trade fodder. The Jazz were not even interested the slightest in trading him so as to keep the eternal tank rolling around. Will Hardy's a good coach. Walker Kessler is an excellent defender from the 5. And once he returns with a torn labrum, that forms a formidable twin tower duo of him and Jaren Jackson Jr. The Jazz may have the league's worst defense, but they won't be the league's worst defense for any longer with the best rim-protecting duos of Kessler and Triple J. This team is now built around Keontae George. And you start Triple J at power forward, which means you slide Markkanen into small forward, as he's typically played at power forward a lot of times, but Markkanen has experience playing at small forward in Cleveland, for that matter. And with him as a piece to this core, Utah's going to be a team to watch next season. Now, I don't know if this is going to impact now. I don't think it will impact them the rest of this season. But next season, watch out for the Jazz.
I like that. Because they really, like, one of the things the Jazz have done the last couple of years, they've stacked up on picks. They have a bunch of draft capital, and they're using it wisely to acquire talent. That was one of the things that the Jazz have done. When they trade away Gobert and when they trade away Donovan Mitchell, they want picks. And they got the picks. And now they're starting from scratch with brand new faces on the team. And like I said, it could be over right now, but next year it could be good.
Danny Ainge, man, one of the best executives in basketball.
Yeah, seriously. Sometimes picks matter more than players long term. That's what I think people need to understand. Okay, we're going to stick with the hoops. Let's see if the college basketball banner actually works. All right, so we're going to start off. We're going to go to college basketball now. Miami, Ohio, the Redhawks. The best story in college basketball today are 23-0 after barely surviving in Buffalo, 73-71. A game that many people picked them to lose because the last time they played Buffalo at home, they almost lost in overtime. So now this team's 23-0, and they do play Marshall tomorrow in Marshall, a non-conference game. And let's see if they go 24-0. Now, the rest of their schedule is MAC conference games and then this game against Marshall. And a lot of people are complaining about Miami, Ohio, taking them seriously because, yes, the record is amazing, but they also play no quad one games this year. It's not like Akron where they played Purdue and Yale at one point. And Miami, Ohio's net ranking is 53. Akron's is 50. That's how little they're taking Miami, Ohio seriously. But I've said it before, 23-0 is 23-0, and that's something you can't take away from them, right, John?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that's going to be interesting is where they're seated after the MAC tournament. They have to, I mean, it's going to be one of the weirdest things because if they have this great season and go undefeated and then don't win the MAC tournament, they're out. As far as
You think they're out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I think that there's a case that you could get both. You can get two teams in the MAC in there for the first time since '99. Because, yes, even though if you go 31-0 in the regular season, you go undefeated, but then you lose in the conference tournament. Say in the conference tournament finals, say they lose to Akron in the conference tournament finals. That's 33-1. I think that doesn't merit being out of the tournament entirely. I don't think so, because 33 wins is probably more than most of the teams in the NCAA combined.
Most of the NCAA combined plays
most of the NCAA
quad one teams.
True. But Kevin, I mean, John's saying that Miami, Ohio could possibly be excluded if they do lose in the MAC tournament. That would make the way for a team like Akron to take the MAC spot, the automatic qualifying bid. Mm-hmm. But even if they don't do well in the MAC tournament, do you really agree with John that maybe Miami, Ohio could miss out?
It's definitely possible because we have to really see, is this Miami, Ohio team, can they – we obviously know that they're for a real team, but can they close out and finish the year strong and actually finish out as the best in their conference? I think that remains to be seen. But I think it's very possible that they could absolutely miss out. But so far, they're playing lights-out basketball. They're playing one of the better offenses in the nation, along with Arizona. So I think it's entirely possible that they could miss out.
Now, bracketologists across the world of college basketball are kind of mixed with where they're putting Miami, Ohio. Some people have them as a 12 seed. Some people have them as an 11 seed. Now, keep in mind, when it comes to the MAC conference, the automatic qualifying bid would usually be a 13 or 14 seed. Miami, Ohio is getting like an 11 or 12 seed consideration. So this is still very strong because the record speaks for itself. But Alec, I'm going to come to you next. When it comes to Miami, Ohio, I know the strength of schedule doesn't work, 350 out of 365 teams, which is not good at all. But do you see like an 11 seed or 12 seed possible for them?
I see that. So long as they win their tournament, which I expect them to do at the end of the day. So 12 seed, 11. All right, am I back on?
Yeah, you're back on. You're good.
All right, so I expect them to get an 11 seed or a 12 seed, depending they win out their MAC tournament. And currently, as the bracketology projects right now, they'll be pitted up against Texas Tech, the 5 seed Midwest region. So as of right now, they're on pace to make it in with this undefeated record.
Yeah, a 12 seed's kind of harsh for them. I know Joe Lenardi of ESPN has them as an 11 seed facing, I think, Clemson, which I think would be a good matchup for them because while Clemson is a good ACC team, they're not one of the best. And Clemson has had their fair share of struggles in the NCAA tournament in the past. So if they do get an 11 seed, I think they're more plausible for an upset than a 12 seed.
Yeah, I'm basing this off of the bracketology from CBS.
Yeah, there's like two different ones that you can rely on. There's Joe Lenardi of ESPN, and then there's CBS Sports. Those are like the two that people dabble in on.
Yeah.
And I know that I have a big with Miami, Ohio. I really like this team a lot. John knows where I'm going with that word. But I curse. But there's still some conferences out there where maybe this races could be more interesting than you think of with the MAC. Like there's some conferences, like I'm looking at the American East Conference, because the American East Conference, they're looking at maybe getting a 16 seed. But the reason why I'm looking at that conference outside of the Power Four is because New Jersey Institute of Technology is in consideration to win that conference tournament and looking like they're going to be the team that gets the automatic bid. Think of it, New Jersey Institute of Technology. That's not an Ivy League school, but it is made of nerds. Nerds from my home state. So what I'm going to do...
Well, the good news is, Matt, for NJIT, there's always a team from New Jersey. Pretty much every March Madness tournament that kind of surprises, remember? Because it happened with St. Peter's, happened with Fairleigh Dickinson. Princeton was always in the tournament.
That's true.
And now it could be at NJIT. So I feel like the New Jersey bid continues if that's the case.
New Jersey Institute of Technology. So that's the conference I'm looking at outside the Power Four, which is ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12. So outside of those those four conferences, what conference are you looking at as an interesting race as far as tournament bids go? Kevin, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, you start with me, or
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I'm looking at all the conferences right now. I'm looking at the Mountain West Conference. I know there are a few colleges that were there last year, and we'll see if they come in this year, because you got to remember that Mountain West Conference has Utah State that was in there last year, San Diego State, New Mexico, which surprised everybody last year. They made a pretty good run, and Nevada's in there. So I think maybe one of those teams could get in there still in the Mountain West.
And you also remember Colorado State made the tournament last year too, and they almost made the Sweet 16.
That's right. I forgot about
that bit for Derek Queen.
Yeah.
With that buzzer beater.
Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly. Derek Queen as Maryland. All right, Alec, what non-Power 4 conference race are you looking at?
All right, I'm checking it on the Big East right now. So at the moment, it is UConn who is up. They're currently up against St. John's, but this is a non-Power 4 conference in which I may be keyed on right now to see if St. John's can some way take out UConn over the future. It doesn't have to be tonight at this forefront, but as of right now, to see whether one or the other could go on a deep run between one another. As of now, it's a tight battle in the first half between UConn and St. John's. They're actually playing at St. John's.
Yep, Madison Square Garden.
Yep. So this is interesting. So this game has conference implications. UConn has not lost a conference game this season. St. John's is trying to end that.
And the only loss UConn has suffered all season long was at the hands of Arizona. So it's pretty amazing. All right, John, before I get to you on what conference you're paying attention to, Gonzaga against Portland, what happened?
I don't know. It looked like the subs weren't there. It was a little bit of a shock, and I don't think anybody expected Portland to win. So now they're in second place in the West, and it's unfortunate, but I still got my eye on them. I think the Zags still get in.
Now, what's interesting about the West Coast Conference, I don't know if that's the conference you're focusing on, but Santa Clara is all of a sudden getting automatic bid bracketology consideration in bracketologists. St. Mary's is looking like they're going to be a last four in team. They're cutting it really close. And Gonzaga, given their reputation and their record, they're still looking pretty good. But to think of it, 3 West Coast Conference teams in March Madness, that doesn't happen too often.
No. St. Mary's has kind of always been around. and the Zags are always fighting for first place in that conference. So it's going to come down to what the last 8 games or so to see what happens.
Yeah, the home stretch. And then obviously conference tournaments are huge. People need to understand, as good as your record is, look at what happened with NC State a couple of years ago. They were the 10 seed in the ACC tournament, and they won 5 games in 5 days to make it to March Madness when they had a subpar season, and then they made it all the way to the Final Four by winning in the actual NCAA tournament. So conference tournaments are huge.
What was 2 years ago? It wasn't
2
very
years
long
ago, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, actually, that 2 years has gone by. DJ Burns and DJ Horn.
DJ Burns,
man.
what a player.
That was a big man that could move.
Oh
Mhm.
man.
Oh,
Miss him.
man. Good times,
them
good
both.
times. Yeah, I know. All right, so now we're going to get into Major League Baseball because last episode we talked about our American League playoff predictions and who was going to make the playoffs out of the American League. Now it's the National League's turn. Again, we're going to pick our division winners and we're going to pick our wild card teams. Although before we get into that, I do want to say, Detroit, how you doing? Because you got Tarek Schoolball back, but then you also signed Robert Valdez.
They get themselves a legitimate number 2 in the rotation. Oh, I don't feel so crazy now picking them to win it, the division.
Timing is everything, huh, Alec?
Oh, timing is everything, indeed.
Now, what really is messed up about that whole thing, though, is Tarek Schoolball had to avoid arbitration to get the $32 million that he wanted. That's less average annual value than Framber Valdez is getting.
And that doesn't even make sense. If you're the best pitcher in the league, you're supposed to make more than that.
Exactly. You're the best pure pitcher on the planet, and you're getting less than the guy that you just acquired.
That's a peak come on man moment.
Kevin,
That's a
kinda
complete
messed
lack
up.
of disrespect for Schoolball.
Yep, big time.
Absolutely.
Oh, boy. Okay, now on to our National League playoff team. So I'm going to start first with my division winners. I'm not going to go over the NL West division winner. I know who it is. I'm not going to say it because this team really pisses me off in more ways than one. And they could be the reason why Major League Baseball is a lockout. But they're going to win the NL West. As far as a wild card team, potentially, I want to say the Giants because Luis Ariza's bat in the lineup is huge. A guy who can hit for contact and get on base. His defense is not that good, but it definitely is a step up. And I think maybe Tony Vitello making the jump from college to the pros could help, but it's going to take some time to adjust. I just don't think San Diego is as good as they were last year. I think they put all their eggs in last year's basket, and now they're paying the price. And then the NL East, I'm saying the Braves win the division. I think Atlanta wins it. I think they're going to get their guys fully healthy. I think Philadelphia's window is closed. The Mets losing Pete Alonso is going to be huge. And I like Atlanta. I like what they've done. And now for the NL Central. Chicago Cubs are my champion in the NL Central. Obviously, getting Alex Bregman is absolutely massive. And I think their pitching rotation got a little bit better. And I think Pete Armstrong is going to continue to progress in improving as a player. And to me, I think the Cubs are just the best team in that division. I mean, you look at Milwaukee, they took a little bit of a step back by losing Freddie Peralta, but I think they could still be a playoff team. And then the Pirates, I'm sorry, Alec, but I don't really see much happening there. And then same with the Cardinals. And then the Reds are interesting too because there's something about this team that they made the playoffs last year as a 60, but I'm not really too sure how I feel. But those are my three division winners: the Dodgers, the Cubs, and the Braves. Kevin, you're next.
Okay, so same thing, National League West, Dodgers. I don't need to go more deep into that. National League East, I still think Phillies, even with maybe their shortcomings, I still think they win that division. NL Central, I still think Brewers win that division as well, even though they were so close last year and they did lose Freddie Peralta, which I think is going to be a big deal. But I still think that they have the pieces to win this division and really take it to the Cubs, even after getting Bregman. As far as my wild cards go, one, I have the Cubs. I think they're going to make the playoffs again. 2, I have the Padres because I still think they're good, even with failing to really beat the Dodgers last season, even after AJ Preller went all in on his trade deadline.
Yeah.
And my third wild card, I'm a little torn because on one hand, you have the Mets who lost Pete Alonso, and he's a big reason why they were even a good team and like a potential playoff team. Then you lose him and place him around him with contact hitters like Jorge Polanco, Bo Bichette, Luis Robert, and Marcus Simeon. And they put him in not natural positions. So I think that's going to be a little jumbled. But I still think that the offense is good enough. But I could realistically see a world where the final wild card spot goes to the Marlins. I do. I think that this Marlins team, like what I saw from them last year, Kyle Stowers emerging, Jacob Marcy emerging. They kept Sandy Alcantara, even though they got rid of Edward Cabrera. They kept basically all their main pieces, and I think that they've got something going here. I think they could turn it into last year's version of the Reds and just sneak in there as the final wild card spot. So that's a little curveball for you. Marlins as the final one.
I didn't even think of Miami. To be honest, I just didn't think that they had the pieces yet, but they did finish the season strong down the stretch. And I think that that's crucial because sometimes if you end the season on a positive note, it brings you some momentum going into next year. So I can absolutely see where you're going with Miami. I didn't even consider them. But to clarify my wild cards, I picked San Fran. I'm picking the Brewers. I think they're still talented. And I guess I'm going to go with the Phillies, even though I don't think they're going to win the division. I think they still make the postseason. I think Miami just misses out. All right, Alec, your turn.
All right. NL West, obvious. There's no need to go over it. 1 seed and all of that. But I'll wait and see about this one because last year showed us why you play the games, because on paper, this is the best team in the MLB, and on paper, they loaded up some more, and they added some key necessities. There's key weaknesses on the roster. So on paper, they should be the number 1.
Yeah.
The NL Central, this one's a toss-up because whichever one I pick, it's going to be a close battle between the Cubs and the Brewers. The Cubs, despite losing Kyle Tucker, they're still a good defensive team. One of the best defensive teams, if not the best defensive team in the entire MLB. And adding Alex Bregman absolutely helps out. Well, while you lose Tucker, Seiya Suzuki can be put back into the outfield away from his DH spot. And he thrives defensively too. He also got better pitching-wise with Edward Cabrera, and that helps out the case. Milwaukee, despite losing Freddie Peralta, they proved time and time again, whenever you count this team out, they just won't go away. They're like a zombie, just waiting to bite your brains off. They're still going to be around. I have them as my first wild card. The NL East will go to Philadelphia. They just barely edge out Atlanta, who gets the second wild card. The Braves get fully healthy and all their pieces back. They made addition after addition so as to address a collapsing team last year. No more Sozo to deal with, but here is Drake Baldwin. Eli White's going to get more reps on this team. And Ronald Acuna is back for a full year. Maybe another year, or if you get another full year of Spencer Strider and Chris Sale, then Atlanta on paper should be a playoff team. And the last wild card, it's going to be a toss-up. This is the beginning of San Diego's fall off. I am not high on them after the last year was their last chance. And even so, their fate was sealed, an early exit at the hands of either Chicago or whoever they were facing in the second round, presumably Milwaukee, which was the case when Chicago won that 3-game series.
Yes.
So San Francisco is in an interesting spot. They're not good enough, but they're not bad enough. If they're not good enough to keep up with the elite of the elite, but they're not bad enough to get higher positioning. But there were some key moves to Luis Arias. But then again, there are other teams in the mix, such as Cincinnati, who are also an interesting team to monitor. the Mets, who are plugging in players that are out of their natural position, save for Luis Robert Jr., who is in his natural position at center field. My concern with the Mets is that Bo Bichette at third base, in my opinion, that's not really going to work out the way I see it. Because at second base, he looked more comfortable. At third, it might as well end up like how he was at shortstop in his later years in Toronto. Ouch! So I'm leaning more San Francisco in this matter. It's anyone's guess at the end of the day. It's too close to call.
Like, the Mets have all this talent, but like Kevin said, they're all playing out of position. That's my little knock on the Mets. And like you mentioned, Bo Bichette playing third base. When we had Jazz at second base to end the year, but he started the year at third. He played third, and that it had its ups and downs when he was at third base.
Correct.
And I think Bichette at third is a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah. Like that's the problem with the Mets. That's why I didn't pick them, because I think despite all the talent batting, their defense is going to be all out of sorts.
Oh, and not to mention the Giants also signed Harrison Bader, which should help the outfield and the defensive side.
Right, yeah.
And you add on to the fact that they got Willie Adames, Matt Chapman over the infield. You have Rafael Devers plug him in at first base. You want to give more playing time to Bryce Eldridge, your top prospect. And you solidify the outfield of Bader, Jung-Hoo Lee, and Heliot Ramos. Ramos is technically the weak link of that outfield. But out of a ragtag group of third wildcard spots, I think San Francisco has the strongest argument. And I say this in quotation marks.
I can agree with that argument. I think San Fran's going to be the team to watch. And you're going to get a full season of Rafael Devers.
Yes.
True, yeah.
All right, John, who are your division winners and who are your wild cards for the National League?
So my division winners are the Dodgers, the Cubs, and the Phillies.
Mm-hmm.
And in the wild cards, I have in the East, I have Atlanta, and I have New York. In the Central, I have the Brewers, and in the West, I have the Giants and the Padres.
Okay, so that's interesting. So those three teams, to clarify, you're picking Milwaukee's one?
Yeah.
And Milwaukee's one. The other one is the Braves?
Yep.
And then the third one you're saying is like who, San Francisco or the Mets? Who's the third one?
Probably the Giants.
The Giants. Okay, I don't blame you at all. Because the thing with the Giants is that even though Tony Vitello is making the transition from college to the pros, he's inheriting a very talented team. And I think the Giants really get slept on a lot. I mean, the Giants, before this stretch of sub 500 season, they're barely under 500 most of the time. It's not like they're a putrid team most of the time. They're competitive, especially against the Dodgers. They're competitive. Like I said, I think the beginning of the season it's going to be a growing pain for Tony Vitello. It's going to be like your whole welcome to Major League Baseball moment. But once he gets his feet underneath him and he's got it going, I think things will be great. All right. So we got a lot of Super Bowl talk. We got NFL honors. We got the Pro Football Hall of Fame to discuss. But before we get to that, we got to thank our sponsor, that's DAS Technology Consulting. DAS Technology Consulting is the one company, the IT company for you, that will give you amazing IT infrastructure needs, third-party maintenance and all of that, all the amazing services. And if you want to know more, here's Darren Sirianni. Take a listen.
Our mission is to deliver high quality, scalable, and secure data center services that ensure seamless operations for clients across various industries, offering best-in-class data center services all under one roof.
Those are two of the most underrated rock tracks out there. Thank you, DH Now Just Tilting, for everything you do in supporting the show. Okay, we got hour number 2, and I guess the borders are actually starting to work now. We got NFL talk. We got Super Bowl 60 talk. John he's feeling it. He's feeling it. Super Bowl fever. John Mulch, Kevin Zelicskovics, Alec Nava, myself, Matt Sirianni.
No, that was DAS calling to see if you fed the dog. Feed the dog.
Oh man, that will never get old. Now that's gonna be like the whole joke of the show. Now, did I feed the dog? I did.
You
feed
should
the
put
dog.
that on the. You should put that on the intro.
Did you feed the dog?
That's like a soundbite, yeah.
Okay, I'll make that a new
soundbite.
thing now.
Feed the dog, then watch sports.
Feed the dog, watch sports. Foursquare Sports.
Sports at its core.
Sports at score. Actually, it's right there in the intro. Okay, so we're going to get into the NFL right now. We're going to get into Super Bowl 60 talk because we are just 2 days away from the final game of the NFL season. John and also David Smith Armchair and Dubs of our friends at Great North Sports are watching this game very closely, and apparently there was a little bit of a friendly wager going on. John, can you please unveil what the wager was?
So, I've been getting closer and closer to Armchair as the years have gone by. We are both in the inner circle of the sportsocracy. We all went to the draft together, had a blast. So he's a Patriots fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Seahawks fan.
Yep.
And I asked him the day before his show on Wednesday, I said, do you want to do like a gentleman's wager for the Super Bowl? And he said, absolutely. So I wasn't sure what he was going to come up with, but I have no problem with it. But he wants to have the loser wear the winner's jersey to the combine. So if the Seahawks win, he has to get and wear a Drake May jersey or a Sam Darnold jersey.
Yeah.
And wear it. And then if the Patriots win, I'm wearing a Drake May jersey. And I went a little bit further just to make it funny. Mm-hmm. Because as you all know, y'all love the heck out of Barstool Sports and David Portnoy.
Yeah.
So what I told Armchair is because I'm so confident in the Seahawks winning that I will rock around combine like David Portnoy. All decked out.
Oh, John.
Oh,
what are you getting yourself into, John?
Fans that have Seahawks jerseys on, I'm going to tell them that their team's trash and that they're, I'm going to do everything I can to be David Portnoy if the Patriots win.
God.
Dude. And we're going to film it. It's going to be the most hilarious thing ever.
John,
you literally signed your name on the red line.
Like I said, that's how confident I am in a Seahawks.
The tail is Rumpelstiltskin.
Now
you had me and then you lost me.
Now, for context purposes, for those who have been keeping track of what the spread for the Super Bowl is, it opened up at 4.5 when both conference championship games ended, and it's still Seahawks minus 4.5. So for those of you who are betting people who are keeping an eye on that spread, it stayed the same. It hasn't moved up or down half a point at all. That's interesting to me.
And it's been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks and it hasn't moved. So if you're a betting man, that gives you something to think about. And what we're going to do is we're also going to – it's actually amazing to me because there was a report that gave light to Seahawks fans. Nick Amanawari, who was their top corner, their rookie corner, hurt his ankle in a practice a couple days ago, but he was a full participant in this practice today. Kevin shared the news, so he's good to go. He'll probably be matched up with Stephon Diggs or Kayshon Boutte, depending on how the Seahawks like to match up their corners. In this Legion of Boom 2.0 or Legion of Bomb, as John has described in the past. But,
or the dark side, as the nickname is official.
Or the dark side. I like it. But now that we have our resident Seahawks fan alongside us, and probably our Seahawks executive, because John knows everything about everything when it comes to Seattle, What are the keys to Seattle winning the Super Bowl? What do they have to do, John?
Well, I mean, I went down the list, and I couldn't find a position where the Patriots were better. The one of the things that I haven't seen in the Seahawks even in the Super Bowl runs was a complete team. They're really good on defense. They're good on offense, and their special teams are lights out. Whether they're kicking a field goal, kicking a punt, and putting
Yep.
people back, behind the 20, or just running tutties like they did against San Francisco with Rashid
Yep.
Shaheed. So as far as I'm concerned, having a complete team and playing a complete game is the number one for me. Number two is Sammy D has to show up in a white 60s 50s style ambulance and be a ghostbuster. If he sees ghosts, then he's throwing 3 tutties. So I want them playing, the Ghostbusters theme song in Levi Stadium as Sammy D's walking out. I think that would be hilarious. I think it would be awesome. The Patriots are a good team. They deserve to be here. They beat the Chargers, the Texans, and the Broncos to be here, but they haven't played an NFC team like the Seahawks. And I think it's going to be at least a touchdown, probably 2 scores.
All right, interesting. I do think Seattle has a clear edge here. I think that if you look at position for position, I think Seattle's better. But on the caveat, on the other side of things, Alec, what do the Patriots have to do to win?
They have to play a perfect game if they were to win this. So far, they've been lucky this postseason. 16 points against the Chargers, 20 against the Texans with 1 defensive touchdown, and 10 points against the Jarrett Stidham Broncos in a snow-driven day in this second half, specifically as we're speaking along that. The Patriots, so far, the defense has been elite. There's no denying that. They're talented all around the defensive side. It's the first time that Sam Darnold and the Seahawks offense are facing up against a defense with a true shutdown corner. His name is Christian Gonzalez. And even though he's young, he is one of the best corners in the entire NFL. And he's going to go head for head with Jackson Smith and Jigba. That's as even of a matchup as it can be. JSN has been playing like the best receiver in the league this season. With all eye-popping stats all across the board. It's not surprising he won Offensive Player of the Year.
Yep, he did.
Yeah. So this something to point out here. This one-on-one matchup is going to be the marquee matchup of the Super Bowl. Wherever JSN goes, Gonzalez has to follow. Or Zach Kerr, who is the interim defensive coordinator for the Patriots, taking over for Terrell Williams. Screw cancer, by the way.
Yeah.
So it has to scheme the defensive plays for Gonzalez to match up with JSN. The Patriots also like to pressure. And Sam Darnold, he did survive at the Rams' pressure time and time again. As the Seahawks offensive line, they got better over the weeks, as we're noticing. Charles Cross with that well-deserved extension, by the way, at left tackle. And Abe Lucas is no slouch over the right tackle. Mind you, they were both in the same draft class. Am I correct, John?
Who?
Charles Cross and Abe Lucas, the 2 offensive tackles.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. So both tackles, they got better over the time, which poses a challenge for Kalavon Chason and Harold Landry. But they're consistent at getting to the QB. And that can help this defense getting this out. What I'm keying on is the offense. Drake May hasn't looked like himself this postseason, and we've yet to see the Drake May that we've been used to. He was the runner-up in the MVP voting by 1 vote, and the difference was Sam Monson, the head of PFF, gave 1 MVP vote to Justin Herbert. He was the deciding vote on getting Matthew Stafford the MVP. at the end of that.
Yep.
Just how hilarious that works out to be. But anyways, back to the Patriots. Ramondre Stevenson has been getting more and more reps as the starting running back for the Patriots, and he's answered the call. Gone are the days of fumbling issues, and he's been as reliable as can be in this playoff run. He was asked to carry the load. He answered. Drake May, whatever he did with the pass that he couldn't do in this playoff run, he made up for it with his legs. But just being good enough isn't going to be good enough against the Seahawks. He has to be at MVP caliber form. No exceptions about it. He has to make the throws that he made throughout the regular season that worked against Seattle's top scoring defense. This is going to be the biggest challenge of his career.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, the Patriots have a lot. Like, the running back room, Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson, that's probably going to be the two players that you're probably going to look at on the offensive side of the ball that have to step up. Stephon Diggs, he's waited his decade-long career to get to this point.
He really made a Super Bowl before Josh Allen did. Ah, man.
And actually, fun fact, you mentioned Josh Allen not getting to the Super Bowl. Sam Darnold is the first quarterback of that 2018 draft class to actually get to the Super Bowl. Not Lamar.
Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson.
Not Lamar Jackson. Not Josh Allen.
Crazy.
Not Baker Mayfield.
He's also in a rare club of players that have played on 5 different teams.
Oh, yeah. And among the quarterbacks who have won
Right.
13 games in consecutive years, Darnold is the only one to do it for different teams.
Mm-hmm. That's true. 14 games back-to-back, and only person to do it with different teams. The last quarterback to win 14 games in back-to-back seasons was actually Tom Brady in 2003 and 2004.
I wanted to clarify.
Who was from San Francisco's Bay Area.
Yeah, that's true. What were you going to say, John?
Oh, I just wanted to clarify a point that Alec made. JSN did play a top wide receiver season. I think he's in the top 6 or top 7 career yards of all time, if I'm not mistaken. So it was one for the ages.
Yep, that's true. Oh, my God. Okay, so, Kevin, I think Alec touched on it a little bit, but who are the marquee players for the Patriots that you're keeping an eye on?
So I think the safest bet to say for impact players for the Patriots are, Stephon Diggs, Ramondre Stevenson. But I'm going to go with 2 guys. Actually, one guy I think can really make an impact. I think it's going to sound very far-fetched. Matt Collins. I think that Matt Collins has been an underrated wide receiver for this Patriots team, especially in the playoffs specifically over the course of the Super Bowl run. Matt Collins has been that guy, especially on third downs. Whenever the Patriots need to have a big conversion, Matt Collins is usually the guy that is able to get it done because most of the time, Stephon Diggs and Keyshawn Boutte are pretty covered. But Boutte is a good guy that can go down the field. But Matt Collins, in a tight situation where you need to convert, he is the guy that can run those routes, and nobody will really seem to pay attention to him because of the star power that Stephon Diggs and Keyshawn Boutte have in the receiving end. Matt Collins can be a free guy going up on a slant route and get some big yards. So I'd say Matt Collins, if they really utilize him well, I think Patriots can get big first downs in this Super Bowl, and I think they can get some free first downs as well.
Good. Matt Collins is a good one. I also think Keyshawn Boutte, their second string receiver, could make a really big candidate for someone who can make a big play for the Patriots. I mean, Boutte's made some really, really good plays over the course of the season. And when Stephon Diggs is blanket, I think Nick Emanuwari, now that he's cleared to play, he'll probably be on Diggs. And then if Tariq Woolen is on Keyshawn Boutte, that'd probably be the secondary matchup that you're looking at as far as the passing game is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And then for me, my Seahawks key players I think need to step up. Obviously, JSN is one. But what about Kenneth Walker III? Because Kenneth Walker III in the NFC Championship game was bouncing off of tacklers, running hard contact against the Rams. And I feel like he's starting to come into his own a little bit. Now, if they had Zach Charbonnet, which they're not going to, then it'd be a good 1-2 punch at the running back position. But they're not going to have Charbonnet. So I think that Walker's going to have to carry the load. He has to get at least maybe 70 to 80 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown in this game to at least give Seattle some sort of momentum on the ground, because I think that you need to have a strong ground presence. Because think of it, the Patriots know Sam Darnold by now. This Sam Darnold might be reinvigorated, but you never know. Sometimes you might have to go to the ground game, unlike what you did in Super Bowl 49.
One person that nobody has mentioned that is a really pivotal player for the Patriots is Hunter Henry.
True, they're tight end.
If they can
Hunter
get
Henry,
the ball
that's
to
right.
Hunter Henry, I think he probably scores a touchdown. And this game ends up being like the NFC Championship, where it's back and forth.
It could. It very well could. I mean, Sam Darnold has proven in the bigger games this year. I remember last year, the biggest problem with Sam Darnold was he didn't play well in big games. The Week 18 game in Detroit and then the playoff game in Arizona against the Rams. He did not play well in the big games last year. This year, he's turned that narrative around. But now it's about facing your former demon.
Who he had trouble with the Jets and Panthers in the past, but it's been years since Darnold last faced the Patriots.
So it's going to be interesting to see if he can turn that narrative around, especially against New England. It'd be so sweet for him, I bet. Okay.
It would, most certainly.
So for those of you who don't
Oh, yeah.
know what the standings are right now in our bracket challenge, John and Kevin are tied at 16. I'm at 12 points, Alex at 10. And the reason why John came back, he came back because he had 10 points and he hit both the NFC and AFC championship games on the nose. Kevin needed the Rams to win the NFC title game in order to clinch the bracket challenge, but he couldn't do it. So now the only way John can win the bracket challenge is if Seattle wins the Super Bowl. And I did make a little statement, and Kevin and I were not a fan of this, that if Seattle wins the Super Bowl and John wins the bracket challenge, he's exempt from being boozled.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Come
Because
on.
I'm bringing
Come
it.
on.
Because
No,
I'm bringing it to Pittsburgh when we go there for the draft. And he's not getting away with it. I already told
You
him.
can't escape it. You can't escape it, John.
No.
You're not going to be like Walter White in Breaking Bad. You're not getting away with it.
I'm going to bamboozle your bean boozle because you got to find me first.
No.
Well, maybe
That can be
you're not
arranged.
in danger because you are the danger.
Now, keep in mind, we are
Yeah,
going to
that's
be in
right.
We are going to be in Pittsburgh for the draft, so John is not entirely safe.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
All I know is that
No
master's
one is safe.
punishment
I'm
should have
kidding.
been done a long time ago. That punishment should have been done a long time ago. That master's punishment. Oh my God! I'll still never forget that Masters tournament. Kevin won that thing, and he knew the least about golf compared to all four of us.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Oh boy!
I knew like a few players, and I'm like, okay, I like these guys.
Oh wait, didn't Alex participate in that challenge, or did he not participate in that?
Wait. Me? Being boozled? I thought I did.
No, the Masters tournament where John
Masters.
came in last.
I don't think he did. No. I don't think he was present for it.
I don't think he was actually. Now that I think about it,
I don't think so.
Was
mystery.
that when he was in Mexico?
I don't think he was.
Yes, I think you're right. I think Alex was in Mexico, and
Yeah,
we were doing the
that
Masters
sounds
now.
right. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, now we're going to get into the NFL honors, which happened last night, and it's Jackson Smith Nigaba. I'm making fun of that comedian that botched his name.
Only thing I'll say is that I Show Speed detaching himself from streamers like Drewski and Aiden Ross was the best thing that he could have done.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so we're not going to go over all the awards because a lot of the awards were obvious. Like it was obvious Myles Garrett was going to win Defensive Player of the Year. However, we do want to go over the Pro Football Hall of Fame class, and this is a class that I think is loaded with 5 members. I think they picked 5 really good candidates for the Hall of Fame class. Although there are some exemptions and omissions that really should be addressed. Drew Brees, former quarterback for the Saints and Chargers. Larry Fitzgerald, stud receiver for the Cardinals. Roger Craig, the multi-talented running back who played for San Francisco and the Minnesota Vikings, where he stayed there for a cup of coffee. Luke Kuechly, who had a 7-year career but was fantastic throughout. And then Adam Vinatieri, who was the sole difference maker in the Patriots' first 3 Super Bowls. Those 5 guys were in the Hall of Fame, but not Bill Belichick, not Robert Kraft, and not Eli Manning.
And if you're a Steelers fan like me, not L.C. Greenwood.
Yeah, L.C. Greenwood also got omitted. Part of that steel curtain.
Yeah, people talk about Mean Joe Green a lot, but don't forget about L.C. Greenwood. He was key there too.
Yeah, it's such a shame. Like, and also Ken Anderson, who was a legendary quarterback for the Bengals, he also got left off. Frank Gore also got left off. The NFL's
Did you
fourth
guys
leading
see-
rusher.
You guys see the clip from the Pat McAfee show?
What'd the clip say?
Pat had all 5. It must have been from today. He had all 5 on his show, and he was asking him trivia questions. And somebody said, "Can I phone a friend?" And Pat said, "Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's phone a friend." And so they start calling somebody. You hear this ringing, and Pat's like, "This is going to be a friend of the show. Nobody knows who it is. Hopefully they answer." And then there's a countdown. He's like, "Oh, look, they are going to answer the phone. There's a countdown to when they're going to answer." It was Bill Belichick.
Oh no!
Oh my goodness.
In fairness to Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft, they're getting rightfully punished for 2 things: Spygate and Deflategate. Those are big red flags for getting in the Hall of Fame on your first try. Now I get it, Belichick 6 Super Bowls and Robert Kraft now with 12 Super Bowl appearances as owner. I mean, I get it. Their resumes speak for themselves. But Spygate was not at all acceptable.
I get that, but at the same time, I don't think that really should have hindered their voting. In my personal opinion, I think Bill Belichick is a clear Hall of Famer. We need to think of coaches like some of the greatest coaches that this league has ever seen. Bill Belichick is definitely up there. So I was as surprised as any to see him being snubbed. I get the Spygate and Deflategate thing, but again, I really don't think that should be like a sole reason why he was kept out. If he was kept out for like a coach that was somehow better than him, which I don't think you can say that there really was any, as far as like a playoff experience goes, winningest, Super Bowl appearance winningest, I don't think you can make an argument that he shouldn't be in it. But at the same time, and also we do know that there was probably some foul play among the voting process, because now we know that the committee is considering changing how the voting process goes, or like eliminating certain key factors like members on there because of the Bill Belichick omission. But I digress.
Yep. John, you wanted to say something about that?
There's 2 things that I wanted to get to when it came to this, and this is probably one of the weirdest NFL Hall of Fame votes that I've ever seen, where it bleeds into Super Bowl week, and there's all kinds of rumors about who didn't vote for or who did vote for, or why it wasn't unanimous, not to mention why they didn't get in, how we found out before the results came out. It was just really weird all the way around. And then the fact that somebody went after Tony Dungy and it's like really trying to get a straight answer on whether he voted for somebody or not. Like, you're not supposed to tell your answers. But,
no.
So that was the circus around it was just really extra to me this year. And then I was really scratching my head when it came to Vinatieri. There was what, three names that I could think of that should have gotten in and ahead of Vinatieri. Jason Witten, Terrell Suggs, Eli Manning.
Yes.
All of those would have been really good candidates to get in. But, let's go ahead and vote for a kicker who, actually, compared to what kickers are doing now, isn't that Hall of Fame to me.
I will say one thing about Adam Vinatieri, for those who are bashing the fact that he got in the Hall of Fame. You got to remember, he was a very clutch postseason kicker. These kickers nowadays are not clutch at all. And that lasting memory of him kicking the field goal through the uprights in Super Bowls 36 and 38 and being the sole difference in 39, I think warrants him for being in the Hall of Fame. Now, listen, was he the best kicker of all time? No, he absolutely wasn't. It was actually towards the end of his career where he started to fall apart. But Vinatieri is known synonymously for kicking game-winning field goals in the Super Bowl. Not many field goal kickers can say that.
That is excellent analysis on Vinatieri. That's what makes him a Hall of Famer. among any one of these that could have been subbed out, Kikwi might have been one that could have waited another year if Belichick were to get in. But if the scandals of Spygate and Deflategate were red flags, as you mentioned about Belichick and Kraft getting in. And I don't know who said this, but the way that the Hall of Fame is looking to be with 5 players getting in.
Oh yeah.
I feel that there's going to be only one quarterback getting in at a time. Next year, Ben Roethlisberger is first eligible. Then the year after, Tom Brady is first eligible. And then 2030, that's when I think Phillip Rivers is first eligible.
Right,
Eli
because
Manning,
eligibility reset. Yeah, that's right.
well, yeah, his eligibility reset. So then Eli Manning and Ken Anderson are going to be waiting longer, unless if they leave out Big Ben in next year because of a certain incident that I shall not name.
All right.
Yeah, this a scandal against him.
All right. I'm just gonna say one thing. I get what you're saying, but that logic just doesn't make sense to me. If that's the case, that you're only gonna put one quarterback in at a time, that doesn't make sense to me. If a guy belongs, he belongs. You don't have to wait.
I would rather increase the amount of people that get in before we start limiting it to one quarterback per year.
Yes. Thank you.
Like, we don't have to cut people off because of limitations. Like, this is the second year in a row where only 5 people got in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
It's not the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame where we decide not to vote anybody in for it.
No.
There are going to be minimum five players that get in every year. We need to bump the numbers up and get some of these guys in that haven't had the fair shot.
And to give you context as to who's going to be first eligible for 2027's Pro Football Hall of Fame, these are the notable people that are going to be eligible next year. Adrian Peterson, Rob Gronkowski, Richard Sherman, Ben Roethlisberger mentioned before, Cam Newton, Andrew Whitworth, Antonio Brown, and Gerald McCoy.
With all the extracurricular stuff that
I think the 3 locks
I don't see him getting in.
right there.
Like
I think
Gronk's
the 3
a lock.
locks right there are Peterson, Gronk, and who's the third one? I'm forgetting. Big Ben. Those are the 3 locks in my opinion.
You don't think Richard Sherman's a lock?
I think he could be snubbed, in my personal opinion, because to get other guys in. But like John said, I feel like we should increase the amount of people getting in who definitely deserve to have a real fair chance instead of just the 5 that they have set for like the past couple of years, which I don't agree with. So I could easily see like Sherman waiting another year and replacing with somebody else. But those 3, in my opinion, are instant locks.
They need to bump up the Hall of Fame class number to like 8. Because the amount of people that have been snubbed over the last several years is insane. Why is Reggie Wayne not in the Hall of Fame right now? Why is Frank Gore waiting another year? Like, what? There are some players that are not in the Hall of Fame right now, and it's like blasphemous to me that they're not. Like, Reggie Wayne should be in the Hall of Fame. It's just insane to me.
It's a joke. The Hall of Fame voting is an absolute joke.
Yep. But one thing that Alec touched on, and I actually wanted to bring this up.
And this Hall of Fame class proves it.
Yep. But there is one thing I want to touch on that Alec brought up with Luke Kuechly. Luke Kuechly only played 7 years, Alec, and he got in. But I remember Pat Willis, another guy who should be in the Hall of Fame. He only played 7 years, and he didn't get in the Hall of Fame. Pat Willis was a talented linebacker. What makes Luke Kuechly different?
It's a similar situation, but they are some of the best linebackers that played the sport in this league.
Yeah, but like, why is Pat Willis not in the Hall of Fame and Luke Kuechly is?
Exactly. That's what I also want to touch on. Patrick Willis was one of the best linebackers in his prime when he was playing. So this logic doesn't make any sense here. So if Patrick Willis isn't in the Hall of Fame, then Bill Belichick should be in this year's class.
Like, the Pro Football Hall of Fame has a lot of work to do because I said it before, the class was great, but there should be more people in there. And there are some people that you can make an argument that are in the Hall of Fame that really shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. I'm talking to you, Bob Greasy. I'm talking to you, Kurt Warner. I'm talking to you, Larry Zonka.
Also, you bring up guys that like are controversial to be in the Hall of Fame. Some of which have a losing record as a quarterback, like Sonny Jurgensen. Rip, he just died today.
He
so
did
rest
just
in peace
pass
to him.
away. Yeah, that's a little bit tough one
Yeah.
to say there.
That's a tough one to say.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that going the quarterback route, what makes Eli Manning different from any of them? What makes him different?
Is this where your Fresh Finder Friday is going to go?
It's not, because I already stated my piece on it, like back when we were under a show with a different name. But I'll just quickly touch on it here. Listen, you guys know where I stand on Eli Manning. Like, he's a Hall of Famer in my eyes. Get rid of the bias. Get rid of the Giants fan bias aside here. He is a clear-cut Hall of Famer in my eyes. Like, because what is the Hall of Fame really about? It's about impact on the game, telling the story of football, accolades, milestones, achievements, Super Bowl rings, all that, what you mean to your own team, your franchise, your durability, all of that. Eli Manning encompasses all of that. He's the Giants leader in passing yards, passing touchdowns. Every passing metric that you can think of for the Giants, he has it. And like a quick little story on it, he had 37 game-winning drives, which is 7th among all the Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Yeah.
More than Joe Montana, more than Roger Staubach, more than Terry Bradshaw. 1,219 passing yards, which is an all-time NFL record for a single postseason. So, yes, he's good in the playoffs. 2-time Super Bowl MVPs. And like I said, he's one of 6 current players in history to have done it multiple times, among the likes of Tom Brady, Pat Mahomes, Bart Starr. I believe Bradshaw's there, and I forget the 5th one. It's eluding me. But he's one of 6 guys to do that only twice. And
Right.
57,023 passing yards. Top 5 amongst Hall of Famers, 210 consecutive starts. So his durability is there, and I still will never forgive Ben McAfee for sending him for Geno Smith for one game to break that streak, because he absolutely would have gotten the record for most consecutive starts there too. And now he's being forced to wait again. And then I saw a graphic. I forget who it was. I think it was Kay Adams that put up on this graphic amongst Super Bowl quarterbacks about how many Super Bowls they won with a top 10 defense. Eli Manning did not have a top 10 defense when he won those 2 Super Bowl rings. Not one. Tom Brady has 7 rings. 0 times did he have a defense that was outside the top 10. His defense, when he was with those teams, helped tremendously, especially in a few Super Bowls that I might add. So Eli Manning is a clear-cut Hall of Famer. Forget the record of being 500. You have 3 NFL Hall of Fame quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame that have losing records, and you have guys who you could argue are questionably be in it, like Kurt Warner, like all those guys. But Eli Manning, I feel like this is just a lack of respect for the guy, because of like the team he played for, because of his record, because he's not as flashy as like other guys. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Tom Brady. He's not Ben Roethlisberger. He's not Drew Brees, but he didn't have to be. He had to be the guy that was going to get the job done in the big key moments. And he has done that for this Giants team and for the game of football. He has half of their Super Bowls for the Giants franchise. So there's absolutely no reason why he shouldn't be a Hall of Famer. This is the reason why I think I saw the report, like he wasn't even close in Hall of Fame votes this year. And I think it's a damn shame, because there's guys, like you mentioned, who deserve to be in here, but are snubbed for various reasons. And if what Alec is saying is true, that they're only going to put 1 quarterback in per year, then you might not even see Eli Manning make it until maybe when Phillip Rivers is eligible. And I think you said it the last time that we discussed it. If Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer before Eli Manning, I'm going to punch this monitor and break it with my own bare hands, because that is a joke. It's an utter joke.
Eli
Manning is a Hall of Fame, period.
You know what's funny? We actually I do remember saying that last year around this time. Lily Schumacher was with us, and she remembers the whole thing.
Correct.
Oh my God. It's such a shame, though, because I feel like if you were part of the game's history and you have some sort of significant contribution, you should be in the Hall of Fame. And the fact that Eli is not in, and Peyton is. Think of it. Peyton didn't. It took Peyton until his last year to reach 2 Super Bowls. Eli was more successful than Peyton at one point, and Peyton's considered one of the best to ever do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird to me. Like, what is this politics that we're playing with certain players? Like, what's the point?
Who knows?
Oh man, I can only imagine like what's going on. Although now we do have a couple other awards that we got announced. So we mentioned the MVP race. Matthew Stafford did indeed win NFL MVP, and it was so cute how when he got on the stage, his 4 daughters were on stage to celebrate with him.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was really cute. And it was by 5 points, and one first place vote, as Kevin said, separated the whole thing. It was just 5 points. Now, Drake May threw more passing touchdowns than Matthew Stafford, but I think Matthew Stafford was more consistent throughout the season. Drake May was on a very light schedule. He played a lot of bad teams. And I think arguably the Patriots had it easy. Like, coaching was better. I'm not saying Sean McVay is a bad coach. I'm saying Matthew Stafford played better. His stats were better. I think he led the league in passing yards this year. I think all signs would point to Matthew Stafford. And if he did win the award, it would have been a little of a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
The NFL has this trending. They did it last year between Lamar and Josh Allen. Lamar obviously had the better stats, but the Bills would not have gone as far as they did without Josh. And I think the same can be said for the Rams. Drake had a couple of stats that were better, but the Rams without Matt aren't in the NFC Championship against the Seahawks without him.
Yeah. No, I agree. 100%. Do you have that same sentiment?
While true that the Rams would not be in this spot that they were without Matthew Stafford, that the Patriots would not be in this spot without Drake May. Now, I can talk about their schedule all I want for the Patriots side. True. Drake May deserves the Patriots had an easy schedule. Drake May also deserves to be in the MVP conversation. Both statements can be true at the same time. There's just a recurring trend over the last few years about which player deserves it more. And there's also another trend going along here: voter fatigue. The voter fatigue played into the part of Lamar Jackson not winning last year because he won it the year before. And I'll say this: if Christian McCaffrey won MVP in 2023, we'll see Lamar Jackson winning MVP last year.
Right.
Thing is, though, Josh Allen, for as good as he is, in my eyes, should have finished third in the MVP voting behind Lamar and Saquon Barkley. The way that I saw other things looking back at it now. That doesn't mean he's not good or any sort, but whenever you see a 2,000-yard rushing season, you can't deny that.
Yeah.
If that matter. Now, Matthew Stafford deserves this MVP 100%. The Rams faced tougher competition with the schedule that they put up with, and he was the best quarterback out of all the bunch this season. In fact, this broke a long drought because this is his first ever MVP award for what I've seen correctly. And I'm happy for him. And it all got decided thanks to, as I point out again, the head of PFF, Sam Monson, for voting Justin Herbert for MVP. The sad thing is, he wasn't wrong about Stafford, but that was because Kevin Dotson, the right guard for the Rams, went down to injury, and Stafford's bad habits of turnovers returned at the worst possible time. Yet that shouldn't take away from that magical year for Stafford. A bad stretch should not take away from an unbelievably successful season. And he's a traditional pocket passer too.
Yes, that is absolutely true. Listen, it was a long time coming for Matthew Stafford. I feel like once he came to the Rams, he finally started to get the recognition and credibility that he deserved.
100%. And I'm happy that he got this moment.
Yeah, he got his moment. He brought his daughters up on stage. It was a great, great moment for the NFL honors, and I'm honestly happy. Now, what I wasn't too thrilled about, and this is our Offensive Rookie of the Year race, Tetra McMillan beat out Jackson Dart. And I will say this, while I'm saying Tetra McMillan, John knows Tetra McMillan. He had him on his fantasy team. But I was kind of shocked, but I think Kevin said one thing that really stood out to me about that was the fact that Jackson Dart did not play a full season. And I think that probably played into effect of what happened. Tedrick McMillan had a very stellar rookie year as one of the top receivers that the Carolina Panthers have, if not the number one receiver the Panthers have. But besides not playing a full season, Kev, why else do you think Tedrick McMillan got the nod over Jackson Dart?
I think you got to boil it down to impact on your team and like the result of every game. And I think that Ted McMillan for the Panthers, no question, I think he made a really big impact on his team. And it's is one of the biggest reasons why the Panthers were even making a wild card and versing the Rams and almost knocking them off and going on that magical run towards the end of the season. So I get that. What I don't get is the fact that if you look at the voting breakdown for offensive rookie of the year, you had Tedrick McMillan with 41 first place votes and Jackson Dart with 1.
What?
That pissed me off. 1. Let me tell you the guys who are above him. Travion Henderson with 1, tied. Gray Zabel with 2.
What?
And Tyler Shuck with 5. Are you
5?
kidding me?
The heck?
Me? What game? What are you watching, voters? Because listen, I understand that Dart didn't play a full season and he played 12 games instead of a full 17 like McMillan. I get that part. If you want to knock him off that, fine. But knocking him off and only giving him 1 first place vote and having Gray Zabel and Tyler Shuck, no offense to those guys, you're telling me that they play better than Jackson Dart in his first year than he did in the shortened amount of time and what he was able to do with the Giants? Listen, in the game, I know that the Giants lost some of those games with Jackson Dart starting. That's not his fault. That's our defensive coordinator at the time, Shane Bowen's fault for not being able to close out the games. We could have had so much more wins against playoff teams, and Jackson Dart would have been the reason why. We beat the Chargers. We beat the Eagles, finally. We should have beaten the Broncos. We should have beaten the Bears. I think we could have still won that 49ers game. We definitely should have beaten the Saints.
Yep.
And there's a couple of games we should have won, and Jackson Dart was starting. He played incredible. Even the shortened time span that he had. Didn't play until like week 4, I think it was. But you're telling me that those guys were better than Jackson Dart. I completely disagree. And again, I know I'm biased, but you look at tape and you're telling me you cannot tell me that Jackson Dart was worse than Gray Zabel and Tyler Shuck. Okay, I'm sorry. That's a complete lack of respect for not only Jackson Dart, but also for Giants players. I didn't even mention Brian Burns getting snubbed from being a Defensive Player of the Year finalist when he finished 2nd in the league in sacks.
That was
behind Myles
crazy.
Garrett, who did win it.
I
crazy. Wasn't expecting Burns to win it anyway. But for him to not even be a finalist, seriously, is because of the team he's on, the Giants. Is it the disrespect of the New York teams? Like, what is it? And it's not even just Jackson Dart. It's also the Coach of the Year voting. If you look at the Coach of the Year voting, listen, I get it. All of those Coach of the Year candidates are pretty stacked. They're all really good. Vrabel deserves it. Cohen was not too far behind with 16. Mike McDonald with 8, which I'm shocked by that number. Kyle Shanahan with 6. And Ben Johnson with only 1.
That's crazy.
With only 1, when in his first year, he took this team for being a garbage, non-playoff team last year, and then making Caleb Williams look like a really good quarterback in his first rookie season and going to the playoffs and being pretty good all season long, knocking off the Packers twice, your longtime rivals, and once in the regular season and once in the playoffs. And you're telling me he only got 1 first place vote? Come on now. Like, what are we doing here?
That's not okay. I will say this: to go from 4-13 to Super Bowl participant is pretty amazing. So I get that. I applaud Mike Vrabel for that. But Ben Johnson should have gotten a lot more respect than that. That was crazy.
Unbelievable.
All right, Kevin's kind of heated, so I think it's the perfect time to transition to our final segment. It's perfect time to transition into our final segment because
It's time for Fresh, Fine, or Fried.
I'm
This is the
having
sec-
trouble trying to sleep. Oh, sorry.
okay.
Great song.
It's
dude.
time for the segment that closes out the show. We have 20 minutes left to go on the show, and Kevin has 5 minutes to say whatever take is on his mind. At the end of his 5 minutes, he will be rated on a scale from all of us on a scale of fresh, fine, or fried. Fresh meaning good, fine meaning okay, and fried meaning boo, you stink. Kevin, are you ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Okay, so this is I kind of like said earlier in our chat that I was going to do something similar to like the Eli Manning thing, but I have a problem. This one is going to be about the Pro Bowl and how much of a completely meaningless thing that the Pro Bowl is now. Because I just mentioned how like much of a joke the Hall of Fame voting was, and how much of a joke some of the NFL honors voting was. How about the joke the Pro Bowl voting is? We're letting Shador Sanders get into a Pro Bowl this year instead of Trevor Lawrence, who just took the Jaguars to a playoff team and one of the best teams in the AFC. We're putting guys like Joe Flacco in the Pro Bowl. And that's another thing about the Pro Bowl. It's completely meaningless to me at this point because it's just lost its luster. It's a shell of what it used to be. Like, it's not even called the Pro Bowl anymore. It's called the Pro Bowl Games. So they're even changing the name and all that. And then realistically, this new iteration of the Pro Bowl is a complete joke. And like, I get that it's fun for the players participating, but when you're a viewer and you're an NFL fan, it's so boring. It's so like non-interesting. You don't tune in. The viewer ratings have gone down. Like they keep dropping from this Pro Bowl, and it lost all its meaning because it's not gone are the days where we had the best players from the AFC against players from the NFC. They duke it out in a football game, and you like to see what these guys can do, and like, wow, this is why that all these guys made the Pro Bowl this year. No, instead it's a rinky-dink flag football game where both the AFC and NFC score 1 billion points because like they don't take it seriously. So if the players don't really take it seriously, are just there for fun, why should fans even watch it and take it seriously to even watch it and view it and take it as serious? The answer is you shouldn't. And I feel like this Pro Bowl, like I wouldn't be surprised if if they just completely did away with the Pro Bowl, because realistically, what is a Pro Bowl anyway? A Pro Bowl is you're good enough as a player to where you were voted into a prestigious game, even though you didn't get into the Super Bowl, that you are awarded a Pro Bowl. And I think that is a good evaluation of like how good of a player are you by how many Pro Bowls you have, right? And at least that's one of the metrics that you can say like, oh, I made 10 Pro Bowls. Like this guy's good. You know, I want to see why he's going to the Pro Bowl every year. But if I'm just going to see him play flag football and not tackle anybody, then what's the point? You know what I mean? I mean, like the Pro Bowl it's completely meaningless. Now, listen, I know that in other sports, like the NBA All-Star Weekend is bad, but at least like you're still keeping the core events intact. You're keeping the All-Star Celebrity Game, the Skills Challenge, the Slam Dunk Contest, the 3-point contest, and you still have the All-Star Game. But even though they tweaked a little bit here and there that I still don't agree with, like with the Slam Dunk participants not being as interesting, not being star-studded like we expect them to be, and the All-Star Game itself, I don't like that this point system has like a target score. I don't like that.
Oh, yeah.
Just give me a traditional clock and like whoever has the most points at the end wins. I don't like this target score nonsense. But at least in the All-Star, it's over a weekend and you have multiple events and it's the same core events. At least they keep that. With the Pro Bowl, it's only one football game and it's a flag football game. It's not even it's an inferior version of what football is supposed to be. And it doesn't even feel like an all-star game like it's marketed to be. And even the trophy itself looks like garbage. It goes apart in 2 pieces. Remember, Patrick Mahomes broke it like a couple of years ago whenever the AFC team won it. So even the trophy itself isn't even worth it. So I think that this Pro Bowl is just completely worthless at this point. By a show of hands, like who here realistically watched the Pro Bowl? Anyone? That's right. I didn't think so. And you okay? But anyway, and also the day that which they decided to broadcast it on a random Tuesday. Who's going to watch a meaningless Pro Bowl on a Tuesday? If anything, you should have it on maybe the weekend prior to the Super Bowl, maybe like the weekend but before maybe the Friday or even the Saturday, and then the next week is the Super Bowl. I think that's what should be done. A random Tuesday, even the scheduling is off, with this thing. The Pro Bowl as a whole is probably the worst all-star thing in all sports. And to me, if you ask me, I think it's lost all meaning.
Wow, with 7 seconds to spare. Well done. Whew. Alec, Fresh Founder Fried.
Oh man, I have nothing more to say about that. That's as fresh as it can be, as fresh as when you are on a busy day at the farm and picking some fruits and vegetables, getting ready to go to the farmer's market. That's as fresh as it can be. Nothing more needs to be added onto it. The Pro Bowl has become a hollow shell of itself, as Kevin said, and the fun factor isn't there anymore as a viewer. It's certainly there for the players, but as a viewer, you're just not a lot to see. I mean, we came here to watch football, not all these sorts of events about flag football. Was it disc golf, some other tournaments like some events that you see in track and Now, I'm not going to diss track and field overly that much.
Right.
Because shot put's something that you see from offensive/defensive linemen if they were to compete in any other events besides NFL football. But it's become so repetitive. The best players aren't participating anymore. And Kevin did mention about Joe Flacco, Shedeur Sanders. The only explanation that I have for that is that Trevor Lawrence likely declined the invite. You got players that declined the invite, and when you have Justin Fields of all people declining invite to the Pro Bowl, that's when you know it's cooked. There's no credibility with this event anymore. I would not be surprised if they just axed it completely, which I actually called for the Pro Bowl to be gone completely after the last running of when it was known as the Pro Bowl period, not the Pro Bowl games. So I feel like it should be just over with. You're just caring for a patient who has cancer.
Yeah.
And it's a sad thing to see from the NFL. They're just trying to prolong the inevitable.
All right. John, Fresh Founder Fried.
Alec, it's 2026. They've got medicine that cures cancer now. Let me fix it. You guys know I like to fix things. I fix the reps. I think this is very fresh, Kevin. You saw my post earlier. Less than 2 million people actually turned the TV on and watched this game on Tuesday. There were two things that I saw. I saw Shedeur throw 2 interceptions and lose the game for the AFC East. And I saw Micah Parsons staring at cheerleaders. And that was basically that was all I got.
With the camcorder, I saw that.
The way that they used to do the Pro Bowl, it was a reward. You take the top players from every team, you throw them on an airplane, you fly them out to Hawaii for a week as a reward, and then they go play a real football game.
Yes.
The MLB still does this. The NBA still does this. They have real games. The hype to the game is awesome. The home run derby is one of my favorite things about that part of All-Star Week.
Yes.
I don't see why you can't do that, especially if we're going to go play an NFC West game in Australia. Let's do that with the Pro Bowl. Let's ship them down to Australia for a week. Let's have a 90-second drill to see the best quarterbacks throwing 30-yard touchdowns and which team, the NFC or the AFC, is going to have the most. There are things that can happen that will change and make this outcome watchable again. Right now, it's eye broccoli. I don't want to see it.
Eye broccoli. That's something new that I never heard before. Okay. fresh, 100,000% fresh. We're at the point now where the Pro Bowl is just irrelevant. And like one thing that you said that it was aired on a Tuesday. Club goes up on a Tuesday. The Pro Bowl doesn't go up on a Tuesday. It's just one of those things where it's like the timing is terrible. The event itself is terrible. It's unwatchable. And then the games that they actually have, like I think last year there was a segment where they had to do like a trivia question for the Pro Bowl game. Like, how does this have anything to do with the actual Pro Bowl event? A trivia question about like your buddy system? I don't get it at all. Like the games are irrelevant. The athletes are just there just to give them something to do. It's just so weird and so unwatchable. It's like, how do you even tolerate this? Why do you even put this up every year? I remember the old Pro Bowl when they, like Johnson, I'm just being a dead horse. They send them to Hawaii. They give them a little trip, a nice vacation. That is a reward. That makes you feel special. And at one point, the Pro Bowl, you were actually tackling. They don't tackle. It's flag football. Flag football is almost as bad as amateur wrestling. It's one of those things where it's like, why do we even have to put up with it? Like, it's cannon fodder TV. It's cannon fodder TV. No one's gonna watch this. It's one of those things where if I'm on the couch and I have my remote in my hands, and I see the Pro Bowl games, I'm just gonna skip right over it because I know it's gonna be pointless. So absolutely fresh. And the fact that one more thing, by the way, because we had a big Shedeur Sanders spiel on the Armchair Discord. Shedeur Sanders getting a Pro Bowl nod is about as bad as that's a diss to the Pro Bowl's credibility. Shedeur Sanders getting a Pro Bowl nod.
Was Cam
ready,
Ward
NFL.
available? I think he much rather would have had him get it instead of Shedeur Sanders.
Get ready, NFL.
I'll say what I said in chat, and that is that the professional flag football league is ready to retire his number.
Ridiculous.
Oh.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I'll give Todd Monken 5 games max before losing his patience with Shedeur.
Oh, Jim Schwartz said, "I'm out of here," because he noticed that because he got passed up on the head coaching search for Todd Monken.
Oh God, the Browns are such a joke. That's a fresh final fry for another day. But you want to know what we're gonna end off today with? MyCamp Solutions Octagon Payments. MyCamp Solutions Octagon Payments is the only wholesale credit card company located in Arizona that will give you amazing processing rates without signing a long-term contract. And if you want to see me punch bags about the Pro Bowl, here you go.
Hey, I'm Matt Sirianni, and I'm a quarter of Foursquare Sports. And if you don't know me by now, I'm all about Octagon Payments and MyCamp Solutions. MyCamp Solutions is the only wholesale credit card company that will give you amazing processing rates without signing a long-term contract. And along with outstanding customer service, this company is a betting favorite against anyone you put in front of them. So sign up today. Go to www.mycampsolutions.com or www.octagonpayments.com and apply now. MyCamp Solutions. It's a first-round knockout.
I love that thing. I really do. The Knicks are going to have their 8-game winning streak snapped. The Pistons are up 110-73 on them with 3.5 minutes left to go. So, Kev, all good things, unfortunately, must come to an end there. Sorry.
I mean, you don't have to be sorry. I mean, like, I feel like if any team was going to break the streak, I would think at least it would be a good team, like the Pistons. But, like, they didn't have Cat because like his right eye, I guess it
Right, yeah.
inflamed or something. So
Yeah, I saw that
late
in the last
tonight.
game.
No OG Anunoby tonight because of right toe soreness. I'm like, come on.
Okay.
And then of course, no McBride for the rest of the year. And Alvarado isn't going to play his first game until I think next game against the Celtics. And then we'll see where this team goes from there. But like, I want to see this team full strength against Detroit because the 2 times that they versed Detroit, they had at least one guy that wasn't healthy. So I want to see this team full strength. They do verse Detroit, I think, a couple games after the Boston game, so maybe like 3 games. So we'll see if the team is fully healthy then. But if the Knicks are going to get anywhere this year, they got to go through Detroit. They barely got past them in the first round last year, and then of course we know what happened to them against the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they shut down Boston, which I was very happy for. But I think that this year the biggest threat to the Knicks is by far the Pistons. Because you look at the Eastern Conference right now, the Celtics still lost pieces. They don't have the pieces that they had last year. No Tatum. Pacers are garbage, and they're completely retooling for next year. Planning for when Haliburton gets back. The Cavaliers getting James Harden. I'm not scared of them at all. Magic can be a bit tricky, but but Knicks are a better team than that. Heat are also tricky for the Knicks, but Knicks are still a bit better team than them. And that's really it. The Pistons are the real only team I could see knocking off the Knicks and ruining their chance to be finals this year. Because Pistons, they're back to being like the playing bully ball, the big defense that they always have. Had like when they're back in like the mid to late 80s. And I think a big part of that is JP Bickerstaff and what he's been able to do in the short time that he has been the head coach, taking over from Monty Williams. And then with the trade deadline that they just got, getting Kevin Huerter and Dario Saric, 2 good guys that you like for Detroit to match their intensity. It's going to be tough, like for the Knicks if they're not fully healthy, especially against this team, because now they're down by 40 points with a minute left to go.
Oof. 40-point beatdown. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, one last thing I want to say before we officially sign off. The March Madness Bracket Challenge will be back.
Oh, that's right.
Last year when we did this, we had a $600 pot. And that went to our good old co-host, Kevin Zelicskovics, who actually was the only person in our bracket challenge that picked the championship correctly. And I'm going to tell you this right now.
I wish I didn't.
I'll tell you this right now, though. I am not ever, ever, ever randomizing my bracket ever again. I will never do that again. I don't know why I'm waving my hands like this. I am not randomizing my bracket ever again. I'm not using 8 balls. I'm not picking out of a cup. I'm not rolling a die. I'm not doing any of that anymore. Because it put me in a very bad position. I finished dead last in the bracket challenge because of that stuff. No more BS.
That's the one you had
You
the
should
beer
just
mile on, right?
Make them all for you.
What?
That bracket got you the beer mile.
Yeah, I know. As I just said, the beer mile got me that stupid bracket. I'm not doing that ever again. And by the way, I sold the beer mile. Some hobo off the street took it for $2. You know what? He can have it. If he wants to be told no for the rest of his life, there you go. You should just let Sammy pick all of the games for you. Nope. Not doing that. I'm not doing it. Because she's probably going to join the bracket challenge too. So she'll probably try to sabotage me. So, no. That will never, ever, 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 ever happen. But anyway, it's $10 to join to create a bracket. You get a maximum 5 brackets. Last year, like I said, we had a $600 pot. I look forward to doing it again next year. And I actually look forward to being competitive and doing it the right way. But anyways, from Kevin Zelicskovics, Alex Nava, John Walsh, I'm Matt Sirianni. God bless every single one of you. Go Seahawks for the Super Bowl. We are
Seahawks.
We are part of KXP, the Island Experience, who are in Washington. They're big with the Seahawks, and we're riding with Seattle too. So anyway, go Seahawks. And like SpongeBob SquarePants always says, old people are the greatest. They are full of wisdom and experience. Respect your elders in every way, shape, or form, ladies and gentlemen. That is the message that I always try to send every single episode. But anyways, this has been Four Square Sports, which is sports at score. Take care, everybody. Have a good night. Go Hawks. See you.
Hi, everybody. Christopher Mad Dog Russo here. And you know what I do? Four Square Sports on Sunday nights, 6 to 8, with all those parts of the country taken care of. Listen all the time. You got it. Mad Dog on Mad Dog Unleashed. Listen to my guys. Listen to my guys.